What's going on, YouTube people? Lapper Flips here, back with something a little bit different, cautionary tale. So I did videos like this last year, or one video where I looked at some analytics behind player data. It stemmed around Nikolai Ehlers, and we're back to Nikolai Eelers. So last year, a lot of people were starting to get hyped up, you can see here, and I'm using, as usual, market movers. There is a link down below if you want 20% off. Great platform. Anyways, here's Nikolai Eelers, and last year people were getting a little bit amped up on him. You know, he had a very good season, statistically speaking, absolutely, but I said that people should be careful. You should be careful. You can go back and reference the video. I'll see if I can link it up top. But, you know, I said be careful because he's going to regress to the mean. He was had a really high shooting percentage. The team was playing just in Canada, but Ehlers didn't look like he was doing anything that he didn't do except pucks were going in. And, you know, just as easily as, or, you know, just as some players can slump, players can get really hot, and it throws things out of proportion and out of context. So you want to take that into account when you're looking at cards, okay? So we got Nikolai Eelers here. We'll take a look at last year. So you can see shooting percentage, 14.19. So that's fine. That's high because it started off last year at around 24 to 25%. It was a really high shooting percentage, and that's when I warned you got to be careful if you're buying this card, because that's going to come down when the goals stop coming in. The card loses attention, and ultimately the price gets driven down, and that's exactly what we saw happen as we went through the season. We saw in March, you know, prices were driven up, and then they come back down, and he's slowly gone downward. Now, I'd also said in that video, and this isn't oh, I was right. This is more the data suggested it, okay? So it's not sustainable to have a shooting percentage or a PDO in the way that he had last year. So we're going to take a look at another case from this year. We have a boy on my team, and I love watching him play. He's a great hockey player. And this isn't a slight on the guys. I'm saying this more as something that you should consider when you're purchasing a card of a player, okay? So if you see them having a breakout year, like, that's not enough. It's like the player hasn't just gotten better, especially if they're 25 or 26 years old, right? You want to take a look at what the catalyst is of that increased production, and usually you can find it in the advanced stats, or I mean the advanced stats that we get online. We don't get to see a lot of the good advanced stats, but anyways, Nazim Cadre, one of those guys. You know, we'll take a look here, shooting at 16% this year, so just too high, not even really sustainable. He'll come down a bit. If we take a look at his individual expected goals for, expected to have 7, he's got 11. Okay, so he's exceeding in that way. Not like the next guy we're going to look at, but still, I don't expect this to hold. His PDO is actually in line. You can see another thing right here, 15.89% on ice shooting percentage. So if you think Colorado, they're the highest scoring team in the league in terms of goals per game. It seems like they're scoring 7 every night, which is fun to watch as an Avs fan. But, you know, this isn't an Avs thing. Like, I'm not picking on Cadre, but what I'm saying is you have to be careful in these situations. Like, the Avs aren't going to keep scoring 7 goals a night or 6 goals a night or 5 goals a night. You know, like that's going to come down or regress a little bit. I'm sure they'll have high offensive production. They have the last couple of years, but not to the level that it's at right now. And Nazim Cadre is one of the players who's benefiting from that. So they're shooting almost 16% on ice. You can see his second best year was 3 years ago with Colorado, almost at 13, and then he had a 14.56% in Toronto, but that was only over 21 games. So, you know, you can get higher numbers as the sample size of games gets lower. But on ice shooting percentage, 15.89. All right, you know, and then we'll take a look at his Corsi 4. This actually really surprised me. A really good Corsi player. Like, no wonder everyone or some people thought Cadre was sort of underperforming. Like 64%, 58, 60, 54, 56, 59. But anyways, Nazim Cadre, like, I don't think that the production is going to continue at the pace that he's at right now. Next guy we'll take a look at is Andrew Maggiopani. So Andrew Maggiopani, if we take a look at his young guns, So he's come down from the start of the season, or gone up rather from the start of the season. You know, he was $3, 10. We'll ignore that sale, $10. I mean, he had some $5 sales in here. Right now, up at about $30. So Andrew Maggiopani, who the hell is this guy, right? Playing for Calgary. Calgary obviously off to a really good start in COVID protocol right now. He's got 20 points in 28 games, got off to a hot start, actually. I don't think he has a point in his last 3 games, and that's not surprising at all, okay? So if we take a look, quite simply, he's got 17 goals in 28 games, so maybe this guy's the new Ovechkin. No, he's shooting at 24%, okay? So that's not gonna hold. He may finish the year off at, like Ehlers last year at 15%. I'm not even sure that that's going to happen, since we're only 28 games, or, less than 30 games into a full 82 game season. But you just can't expect this production to keep going, especially the goals. And then if we take a look at PDO, so he's a little bit high, 101, but that's not so bad. On-ice shooting percentage is actually in line, so you do want to see that. And then his Corsi C4 percentage, 57, and total Corsi at 480. And one of the things that you'll want to look at here, so why is this happening? Well, he's got 71 shots in 28 games. He only had 91 shots in 56 games last year. So he's getting more looks, he's getting more ice time. The 24%, just not sustainable. Last year he was 19.7% in 56 games, which is really unreal, and still he only had 1 more goal than he had this year. But you really want to look at this shooting percentage right here and see if that is sustainable. I called it last year with Ehlers, and then he went on like a 6-game, 7-game no point streak. He was in a goal slump, and it's not like the math and the likelihood that he scores, he was just on the good side of variance, okay? So Andrew Maggiopani, exact same thing. So he's actually only on pace to slightly exceed the season that he had last year. The thing is, he already has 17 goals, though, and that's what people look at, right? So, as we've said, don't expect that to continue. But I've been negative enough, so let's take a look at a guy and, something that I like to see a little bit more. So we'll take a look at William Nylander. He has 13 goals in 29 games, 30 points, 25 years old. Again, at that point, I don't think these guys just like blast off at 25, but I guess we'll see. And card price been relatively stable, going right back to September, coming up from $32, and we'll take a look at the last sale, about 42. So that $42 is about 29% increase. So not insignificant, but let's take a look at William Nylander. So shooting at about 12.26%, which is completely in line with his past seasons. Last year he did it 51 games, 12%. Had a good year here at almost 16%, 68 games. That's still high. And just to give you an idea, Ovi shoots at about 13%, but Ovi shoots as much as anyone, if not more. This is what I like to see, though, which is nice in William Nylander. So he has 106 shots. Last year in 51 games, he had 133 shots. So he's got 106 shots in 29 games already. He's got 13, and we'll take a look at his individual expected goals for. Close to 11, and he's got 13. So really sustainable there, really close. You like to see that. Good shooting percentage, sustainable. Expected goals for, in line with the goals. And we'll take a look at his PDO. His PDO is actually a little high, but the on-ice shooting percentage is a touch high. We would expect a combination of the on-ice save percentage to come up and possibly the on-ice shooting percentage to come down, which will get that PDO back in line. If you don't know what it is, PDO is just a combination of on-ice save percentage plus the on-ice shooting percentage. Typically 1.0, this is like pretty much like perfectly in line. It just tends to be the median of where this data set sort of meets. We'll take a look at his Corsi 4. Good Corsi player, 60%. Look at these, like what a Corsi player. You want a guy who's in that end? Well, William Nylander's playing in the offensive zone, that's for sure. and 688 Corsi 4, which are shots directed at the net, shots that miss the net, and then block shots all together in that. 688 in 29 games played. Last year, you see 941 and 51. So he's on a pretty good pace here this year to keep that going. But that's it, guys. Take a look at the data when you see a guy that you like who's outperforming. And then think about it too. Like if the market's already going up and people are really wanting the card and the price has gotten high, Troy Terry's a perfect example. You know, you can't be buying that card at $25, $30. These guys just don't, the sky isn't the limit. These guys aren't going up to $200. You know, it takes a lot more. It's going to take seasons, even for a guy like Terry. I'm a little bit longer on him, to be totally truthful, so I don't mind holding it a little bit. Is it smart? Not really. I don't think so. I mean, you got to be able to recognize this yourself. I don't think it is smart, but it's a gamble that I'm taking. You know, I got his Future Watch autos. The data suggests he's going to regress too. Just full disclosure, and it's a guy who I'm on. So it's okay to speculate. I just think there's more talent there that, you know, over the coming seasons, he can improve. He's also 2 years younger than the guys that we talked about, which isn't inconsequential, right? So anyways, take a look at the data, guys. Make smart buys. You don't want to waste your money, and don't chase the market. You want to find the player before the market does. Thanks for watching, guys. Lapper Flips, LAPP3R30_flips. We'll knock our mic over. Check you.